So today we thought that we would do another Q&A because you guys loved the first one. We got a ton of questions, and now we got some new questions and some that are kind of old that we'll clarify a little bit because there are a ton of you around here that are new, so it's super exciting.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome to our channel, our blog, our Instagram, our everything. Hello.
Hello. We both have straight hair today, which is very unusual.
I know. I haven't straightened my hair. Sorry about the construction outside.
Yeah, there's massive construction on our street. It has been going on for like 2 months, and so if you hear jackhammering or loud banging, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yes, but see, you can't even see the ends of my hair underneath the camera. It's getting so long, and I just felt like straightening it today. But I was just telling Ashley that I don't think I've straightened my hair since we moved into this apartment, which was like 8 months ago, and I almost forgot like how to straighten my hair. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, I have my cup of coffee because we just want this to be like fun, casual. We'll like answer questions as if we were sitting across from you having a cup of coffee at, you know, Starbucks or some hipster coffee shop.
And that would be a fun thing to do if there's like a lot of people that are ever in New York at the same time, we could all just like go have coffee.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for
Would
that.
you guys be interested in that?
I would. I mean, I'm gonna go have coffee anyway, so if you'd like to come, that's kind of where I'm at. We're both wearing stripes.
I'm always wearing stripes.
Oh, coffee meetup, how fun. That's cute. I think we should do it.
Okay. All right, we should probably get to questions because we've rattled on for several minutes and haven't answered one.
All right, so this first one isn't actually a big question, but we can turn it into one, and she even said it's not a question, but this is from Katie, and she says, this isn't really a question, but I was wondering if you guys could maybe make a playlist or share some songs you're currently loving. Yes, we can totally do that. I know a lot of people share like Spotify playlists that like people can follow. Now, Ashley and I are not Spotify users. I used to be until Apple Music became a thing, and then I prefer Apple Music just because that means everything's connected, because like we have the watches, our iPads, our computers, our phones, like everything's connected. So if you have Apple Music, you can follow us individually on there, and you can see like everything there, and I can make some public playlists on there if there's enough interest that you guys want to follow. If you have Apple Music, that's totally a thing. But we can talk about like songs and artists and stuff that we're currently loving.
Sure.
I'll go first.
I gotta pull up my Apple Music to
I know
see what I've been listening to.
Yeah, same. Oh, there's one that we both really like, Casey Musgrave's new album. I've actually never listened to her before, but she is opening for Harry Styles, and I'm seeing him twice in June, so I was like, I should probably like listen to something just so that I can enjoy it. And her new album, Golden Hour, I really, really like, because Ashley told me she liked it.
But she only knows about this because I told her.
And because Busy Phillips posted about it on her story a lot. So,
I really like it. It's country, but it's not like twangy country.
Yeah.
It's really pretty. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but like Shelby said, I've never listened to her before. Like, nothing against her. It just, I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this. I think it's different from other stuff she's done. So, there's that.
I've also really been into Shawn Mendes's new songs. I'm so excited for his album.
That's literally the 2 things I've been listening to, and I have nothing to say now.
Sorry. I also discovered Dua Lipa. Where did I heard something, and then I started listening to her newest album, and I really liked it. It's a really good workout album. It's just like upbeat and fun. You probably wouldn't like it. Let's see. I listen to a lot of different kind of music. I could do a whole video on just like my music taste and everything like that, and it always really depends on my mood. So it's hard. I have such a big range, and I listen to like one song from one person and then I'll switch to something else. So I'm not usually a full like let me listen to this whole album kind of person.
I'm the opposite.
But okay, there's an Apple Music playlist that Ashley and I both love that we always put on. It's called Acoustic Chill, and it's an Apple Music playlist that like Apple and iTunes like updates every week. And that's kind of like our weekend playlist, or when we're just like relaxing,
just on in the background,
put on.
like not really trying to listen to anything.
Yeah,
Spotify probably does too. I'm just familiar with Apple Music's playlists, they have some really good ones. So apart from what Shelby said, the other one that I'm really loving right now is they have a you probably can't see that, pop throwback playlist. If you search pop throwback, if you have Apple Music, that one's really fun. It's lots of like 90s and early 2000s pop music. We were listening to it last night and had a little dance party while eating dinner. To me, like, I've been really more into like throwback pop rather than current pop, because there hasn't been a lot of really good music that's come out lately, like the past couple months.
There's been some.
There's been like a little bit, like little pockets. Like I like Sean's singles and stuff, but like as far as like a full album from somebody, I feel like there hasn't really been anything that's come out, at least that's interested me in the past little bit. So I found myself going more throwback lately.
Yeah, but we could do a whole like video or a big section in like a vlog or something, or a blog post like more in depth about music, if that's something you guys are interested in. We don't talk about it a lot, which I find interesting because it's such a big part of my life. I feel like that's the one thing I haven't like super talked about a lot, so I'm glad Katie asked us about that.
Thanks, Katie.
Okay, so this is a question that we get a lot and we've answered several times, but we're kind of go over it again. So Amber asked us, she said, I'm just curious about what we do for work, and is our YouTube channel producing good income? What's Ashley's other job? Because we've talked about that. Yeah, that's kind of it. She talked to us a little bit, but that's kind of the questions out of there. So I work on our overall brand full-time. That's what I do. So I work on our YouTube, our blog, our social media, everything all together, and stuff that is hopefully coming soon, all these like new projects and things that we're working on. So I do that full-time. I have ever since I graduated college, solely because
it's a lot of work.
First of all,
people don't realize how much stuff goes into this. They think it looks, I think it's partially our fault. We make it look a little easier than it is.
Yeah, but it's totally not. It's a ton of work. So yes, I'm not making as much money as I probably could doing something else at this point, but it was a sacrifice that I was willing to make because we want to make this our full-time thing and branch out into other things. It's not just, you know, posting on Instagram. That's not what we're here for to do. That's just a very small portion.
It's a marketing tool.
Right, of what we eventually want to grow into. We've talked about this before. We've always been really close and we always knew that we would do something together eventually in our lives. And before I graduated college, we were talking about different potential things, and this was something that we were both passionate about, and there's lots of things down the road that we would like to do that obviously can't happen at this moment, and this is just kind of like the stepping stones to get into that. So that's what I do.
So I have a full-time job in the fashion industry. I have for, gosh, 8. This is
probably about 9, because you started this job when I was still in high school.
Yeah. I don't know, a long time. It's been so long I've lost track. With that job, it requires me to do a lot of travel as well, so that's why you see me sometimes, like on Instagram stories specifically, doing travel separate from Shelbs. So that's my other job. I do that Monday through Friday, you know, 8.
But she works from home here, so that gives us the flexibility.
Unless I'm not traveling.
Right. So if I have a question that I need to ask her about our business related, like I can just come out to the living room and ask her a question. We have that flexibility. She's not like in an office away from me all day, which is nice.
Yeah, anyways, and then I work on As Told by evenings and weekends. So I'm a very busy person.
Oh, the question we didn't answer, which I won't go into too much detail, but she asked if our channel is producing good income. It's a hard thing to say, and we're obviously not.
We kind of answered this in our last Q&A video, like how we make money.
Yeah, it does make us some income. Obviously there's 2 of us, so in other like bloggers, if it's just the one of them, like they're all getting that money for themselves, but we obviously split everything, so we have to work extra hard and longer to make the same amount of money or income as, you know, someone who's just blogging or doing YouTube on their own. And even when we started all of this, like YouTube wasn't even something that we had even planned on doing. I I've watched YouTube videos for a long time. Like the year that YouTube came out, I started watching YouTube videos. It started off with because I went through a big phase of being obsessed with So You Think You Can Dance, because we grew up as dancers. And after the episodes, like people would post the dances on YouTube and I would rewatch them all week until the new one. So I've been like a hardcore YouTube fan since the very beginning. She never was, and
to be honest, I'm still not.
Yeah, and even
that's probably like really awful to admit as I'm sitting here watching or filming a YouTube video.
I watch enough YouTube for the both of us.
It's just not something that I have ever really gotten into.
And even when I approached her about starting this ourselves, because we had our blog for like 2 years before we even began YouTube, she was kind of weary about it and wasn't sure, and I was like, I promise you, I think you'll really like it. It'll just be fun and a different outlet for people to follow us on, because some people love to read blogs and some people like to watch videos, which is kind of us. I read blogs, but not as much as she does, but I love watching videos, so we wanted to kind of reach more people in that sense, where it's just what people prefer, how they get their content from. Okay, so Allison asked us, she said, I remember watching one of your Insta stories about a horrible flight. What airline was that? Because she's booking a trip soon and she doesn't want to fly on that one. So I did actually respond to her individually, but we'll answer it here. It actually wasn't a horrible flight.
Yeah. The flight was actually quite lovely.
So this was Norwegian Airlines. We've flown them on three round trips now before.
They're a budget airline, so you have to know that. So it's appealing because on the surface level, their flights look very cheap. It's kind of probably comparable, from what I've heard, I've never flown. Spirit Airlines, we have that here in the US.
And like WOW and EasyJet.
Yeah, in Europe, which I know are popular. So it's kind of the same as those, where the airfare looks really cheap, but literally nothing's included. So everything, as far as like you want a bottle of water on Norwegian Airlines, you're paying for it. Like nothing is free.
But that part doesn't bother us because we always bring our own food. Right. And especially on overnight flights, we don't want to wake up to eat anyway. So that part,
you just have to know that going in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this flight's so cheap, but then it's actually not.
Yeah.
If you have to have all of these added extras.
Yeah.
If you either are
and even picking your seats too, you can't pick your seats in advance, or you can, but you have to pay for it. Yeah. But if you're on the same reservation, they sit you together. So to ease your worry a little bit like that, if you're just worried about sitting with the people you're traveling with, if you bought the tickets on the same reservation, they will put you together. And even one time when Alex was traveling with us, she bought her tickets on a different reservation, but when we checked in at the airport, she was standing with us and we all checked in together. And so they put her with us because they knew we were traveling together. So it's not like they're gonna put one person in row 4 and the other person in row 20, unless
you want that.
Yeah. Unless there's something like crazy going on. They're accommodating in that sense. What we were talking about in this instance was more so actually the experience at JFK, which is the international airport here that we always fly out of, and what Norwegian flies out of here. So we were actually talking about this when we flew to Paris on Norwegian the very first time. We don't remember having any weird experiences at the airport. Like, I don't remember anything happening. I thought it was like super quick and easy. So then a month later, we were going to Norway, and like all of their machines were down, and there was about 2,000 people waiting in line trying to check in, and it was this whole big thing. They had to start checking people in manually, like literally writing down like ticket numbers and things on a piece of
bags
paper.
Were tagged manually. They like had these plain tags, and I was like, our bags are never gonna make it because this is like handwritten in pencil essentially.
So by the time we got through that line, and then in this terminal, the security line is insanely long, and there's like 2 little areas that you can go through. So we already knew going into it that this particular security line is crazy, but then we had to wait like 4 hours in the line before, and then once we finally got through everything, we were like one of the last people on the plane, and we just had to run on the plane, and you couldn't do anything.
And we do have pre-check, but Norway or Norwegian Airlines doesn't participate in pre-check. Not all airlines do, especially those international airlines, so that didn't help us.
Yeah, so we were checking our bags for that time. Now this time when we were flying to Copenhagen, as we've talked about before, we want to start carrying on our bags everywhere we go. So I remember Ashley telling me that she checked on Norwegian's website that the size of the bag that we have fits in their things. I was like, great, no problem. So when we get there, they say, or they said, which it is on their website, so it's my fault for not looking at this, but I just think it's a stupid policy, is that to carry on to Norwegian, both your personal item and your carry-on bag have to be less than 10 kilograms, which is like 20 pounds or 21 pounds or something, which is insane if you're trying to carry on your bag. And then I have like a backpack that is full of stuff too, which I think is bizarre. Like, why do we need to weigh our carry-ons when, let me tell you, this plane was half empty. Like, there's not a weight issue. It's not like the plane's gonna go down.
Right, I mean, because it doesn't matter, because if you were checking your bag, that weight's still on the plane. Like, it's not making a difference. It's not like you can bring this or you can't. It's does it go with you in the cabin or does it go under the plane?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So we were annoyed about that. So then we had to pay to check our bags. And if you pay to check your bags when you're at the airport, it costs $65 a bag.
Per bag.
Per bag. Not like an overweight thing, just a normal bag. So we have these bags that were
carry-on size.
Yeah. That we had to pay $65 each to check, which is just so frustrating and annoying.
And again, it's not on them. We didn't look at the weight thing, but that's just something else to be aware of. And even if you prepaid, it's still like, it was like 40
something. Like, it's not like the 25 is like normal that you get here.
It's still expensive.
Yeah.
So that's just what we were saying as far as like the baseline airfare was cheap, but then if you check a bag, which you pretty much have to unless you are like a ninja packer.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were gone for 4 days. We didn't have that much stuff.
I had probably the least amount of stuff I've ever taken with me on
But I mean, just my backpack alone was almost 10 kilograms because I had my laptop, I had camera equipment, I had, you know, just stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's just frustrating, and it ends up not being that much cheaper in the long run than a more luxury, I say luxury loosely because what airline is actually luxury these days, but it ends up not being that much cheaper in the long run with all these added extras than like a British Airways, for example, that, you know, gives complimentary you know, food on board, 2 meals to go to Europe, and alcohol and things. So that's why we said we probably aren't going to fly Norwegian again, because just the experience at the airport.
Okay, so Amber came back and asked us a few more questions that she wanted to know. So the first one is, have we always gotten along so well? I think we've answered that before, and the answer is absolutely not. Because we are 6 years and difference in age, right now it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But
when I graduated high school, she was in elementary school. So just think about that maturity level difference.
Right.
I'm going off to college and she's going off to 6th grade.
Right.
I mean, it's just like,
it's not anybody's fault, but that's just how it is. But like,
we can't relate when we're at that age. Now it's a different story.
Yeah, she liked me when I was really little because we have a brother in between us, and she didn't want a brother, she wanted a sister. So when I was born, she was really excited about it. And so up until probably
for like a year.
No, probably up until you went to high school, you really liked me, and then you were more self-involved, but that's just how life is.
Self-involved.
Well,
that's when actually Ethan and I were pretty close.
Yeah.
Because we're only 4 years different.
Yeah. But then when you did go off to college, we did get kind of close again because she went to college in Waco, which is where our mom grew up and all of our family still lives there. So we were down there a lot. And I would stay in her dorm with her.
Yeah. Which she thought was the coolest thing.
Then she asked, what neighborhood of New York do we live in, and what is our favorite neighborhood? So we've lived on Upper East Side for 3 years now. Wait, no. Wait, oh my god. 6 years, sorry. 6 years. Sorry, I lived 1 year in...
more than that.
No, we've been here 7 years. I lived 1 year in Chelsea because I stayed in the dorm at my school, and then we moved to the Upper East Side. Love living up here, but dream, we were actually talking about this with Alex, dream would be to live in the West Village at some point.
But that's everybody's dream.
Yeah. Favorite neighborhood? I don't know, I like lots of different ones for different reasons. Okay, so to live definitely up here right now, and especially up here because so many new things are opening, and when we moved up here there wasn't much up here, and I wasn't happy about moving up here when we did, but now I love it.
So the thing with living uptown is you generally get a little bit more square footage for your money, which that's relative because New York apartments are teeny tiny, but you get a little bit more space for your money, and it feels a little bit more neighborhoody. It isn't as busy. I call it the suburbs, joking,
but it's not. It's still like totally in the city.
It's just a completely different feel from like Midtown.
But back to our favorite neighborhoods. Like we said, for different reasons, but I love the like Soho, Nolita area because there's lots of shopping down there, lots of good places to eat, lots of opportunities for pictures, but I wouldn't live there, if that makes sense. What's your favorite neighborhood?
Too many tourists.
You're gonna say up here.
Yeah, I would say probably either Upper East or Upper West Side.
I don't love the Upper West Side.
Don't tell Alex.
I know, she wants us to move to the Upper West Side.
I like it. To me, there's way more families and kids on the Upper West Side than the Upper East. So since we're not at that point in our lives, I would maybe not want to deal with that on a daily basis, but I really like the Upper East Side. We're close to the airports, we're close to the park. It's just like, it's convenient for us at this stage in our lives.
All right, and her last question says, Ashley mentioned having lived in London. What's the best and worst part of living in London? We've actually both lived in London. She lived in a dorm, and I was there for school also for a summer, but I actually had a flat, like an apartment. So totally different experiences because I was able to cook, and it was more of a living thing where like they were in a dorm, so they had,
like a cafeteria, meal plan,
But it's interesting. I've always loved London, and that was the first place that we both ever went out of the country. This was before we both lived there. We went there on trips. What'd she say? Best and worst part of living in London. The best part, I like to describe it as a mixture between New York and Dallas. We grew up in Dallas because like in New York, like you don't drive, you don't have a car, it's just like buildings, and it's like you're in a city. London is a city, but it's also like most people have a car. It's a little more spread out. There's more like houses in London instead of just like tall buildings and stuff. I like the convenience where it's like New York, where they have the underground, which I love, tons of great restaurants, museums, things to do like that. So that's kind of probably like my favorite thing about it. I love it. I love London more than New York. I think I've said that before. Because to me, it's kind of like the best of both worlds that I kind of want put together, if that makes sense. I don't know what the worst part would be. Maybe the weather.
I would say if I had to pick something, maybe the weather.
But it's not even that bad.
No, it's not. I mean, it's a little, I think, more rainy than New York. They also, well, this year aside, don't get a lot of snow generally.
A ton of snow this year.
Which I like that about New York. I like that we get snow. I don't know, I think they have a little bit longer spring and fall than
their summer's about a week really long.
So I like that. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because New York summer can be kind of horrific sometimes. Yeah.
We love London.
We love London.
Highly recommended if you've never been. All right, I think her name's Emily. She asked, what do we miss most about Texas? We actually talked about this recently too. My thing is probably just not being around our family, because that's what I always thought, like I wanted to move back to Texas, and then slowly every time that I've gone back I realized it's only because I like spending time with our family, but I don't actually want to be in Texas. So I wish that like I could pick them up and move them. The Tex-Mex.
I was supposed to say that's my thing, but sorry family, but Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex, and then a lot of friends that I grew up with are still there, so that, because being so far away. But other than that, I miss driving, but I can do that pretty much everywhere except for New York, so it's not like something that's so much Texas.
You miss driving, then why am I always in charge of the rental car on our trips?
It's good for you. Okay, so Paige said she wants to know how dating in the city is. She said she hears it's really hard. Now here's the thing. It is, and that's why I don't do it. It's pretty much my answer to that. Well, several reasons. I've chosen not to really date because we're both firm believers in finding yourself first and being really well versed in who you are and what you want, and who I would have thought I needed to be with 3 years ago is now I know 3 years later, like, not at all. I know like what I need in somebody because of just things that I deal with emotionally myself. So you have to learn and grow yourself first, and so that's what we're kind of doing at this point in our lives. But yes, it is hard in the city. It's pretty much, it's not impossible because it happens, but I don't really want to be on like dating apps or anything like that, and someone who comes up to me in a bar is, I mean, I'm sure maybe somebody great, but just overall that's not necessarily something that I would want. And also because we didn't grow up here, so we don't have a ton of friends that like live here per se. Like, I went to school, but I went to school at FIT, which was mostly girls. And if there was boys, 9 out of 10 of them like boys. So there was no really chance to meet anybody there, and all of my friends here didn't grow up here. They all moved here to go to school, and so none of them have like friends that are here, you know. So it's just interesting because a lot of times people meet people through friends, but we're all kind of in this weird situation where we all grew up all over the world and then came here, so we don't have like a core group of friends that like say grew up in New York, you know what I mean? It's hard to meet people because people aren't open so much to talking. Everyone's kind of in their own
headphones ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
To sum it up, it's hard.
Okay, so our last question is from Terry, and she said, do we follow or are friendly with other New York YouTubers? Funny question, because like I said, I watch a ton of YouTube, but I actually watch a ton of British YouTubers because, like I said, I love London, and that's kind of where I started because I started watching it before I ever moved to London, and it was more so like this urge of like, oh, they're there and I want to get there, so it was fun like seeing that, and then I just never stopped. We don't watch a ton of New York YouTubers. I think, I don't know. I don't know a ton. I mean, I know there are a ton, but it's just because I live here, like, yeah, I can see all of that stuff myself.
Yeah.
So
it's not as interesting to watch because we
them,
know it all.
But I'm totally open to meeting and hanging out and bouncing ideas off of each other people that are here. So if you live in New York, hit us up and we'll go have coffee. We'll have our coffee chats. Yeah. All right. That's all the questions we have this time. That was some good ones, and I think we rambled on for a very long time. Sorry. This one likes to talk a lot, which is interesting because she doesn't like to talk.
We talked more in this video.
Yeah, because I probably edited your stuff out. Anywho, if you liked this video, give us a big thumbs up, and if you have any more questions that you want us to answer, leave them down below. We can do another one, whatever you guys want. So leave them down below. Make sure you are subscribed. Click on our faces and make sure you turn the notification button on so that you know when we post our videos. And you can watch our latest video right there. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!